Hello there, World of Tankers. I'm World Blitz, and welcome to the channel. Hopefully, all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Hori Type 2. This, of course, is the Tier 9 Japanese tank destroyer. Now, the Japanese TDs I always thought were kind of weird looking, but I actually like the look of the Hori Type 2. It's kind of got a weird back, I will say that, but it's got a great gun going for it. In fact, in my opinion, one of the best Tier 9 guns in the game. When you look at the penetration, standard at 290 is plenty to cut through pretty much all Tier 9 frontal armor, and the premium at 340 only deals 15 less damage than the standard. So you may ask, what's the point of firing standard in the first place? And yeah, that is a big question that a lot of people do ask. So the Hori Type 2 is a fantastic Tier 9 vehicle. It doesn't necessarily have all the mobility, and that's really the biggest drawback on this vehicle compared to the normal Hori, is it only goes 37 kilometers per hour forward, and with an average speed of only 27, it's got really bad engine power, and as well, the power to weight ratio really isn't necessarily the best, but the gun on this tank really makes up for it. It's pretty much just the same gun as the normal Tier 10 Hori, just brought down a tier, a little bit less DPM, but this thing actually has 8 degrees of gun depression, and in my opinion, way more reliable armor frontally. So yeah, that is the Hori Type 2. So of course, I'm going to be talking about the vehicle in today's video, having some live gameplay. If you do enjoy today's video, find yourself scrolling across some thumbnails, clicked on this video thinking, hey, maybe I want to grind down this line, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below because it really helps out the channel a crazy amount. Now, the Hori Type 2 is kind of a weird vehicle because it can do the role of a medium and it also can do the role of a heavy. The upper plate on this vehicle is pretty much an auto ricochet to any round in the game. It's actually pretty dang impressive on that. It's kind of like the Progetto 65 where it just gets a lot of ricochets because shells just can't overmatch it. So it's really thick on that part. As well, the lower plate is actually quite thick on it, and you can see the lower plate is quite small, but it definitely has its fair share of weaknesses. First of all, it's got those big things next to the gun, and this tank actually has no gun manlet as it is, which makes it a very weak spot. So yeah, it definitely comes with its fair set of drawbacks, but overall, that gun really makes up for a lot of them here. We've got the Type 61 right in front, and I'm not really sure what the enemy team is doing. I do see the 57 Heavy off to the side, which is going to be a pain to deal with. I really want to get a nice tap into the STA, and there you go. That's not the STA, but the Type 61. Nice little tap. You can see that the gun on this tank is actually pretty dang accurate when you do think about it. Now, I do have the 57 Heavy pushing off right in front of me here. Let's get a nice tap right into him. Maybe back up, hopefully bouncing the shots, but I doubt it. I'm really going to wiggle it to the best of my abilities here, but yeah, he's probably going to pen me all of the shells, as you can see, cutting right through my frontal armor. But at the same time, is it going too well for this guy? I can tell you, he's lost quite a bit of hit points in the process of trying to shoot me. So I'm going to back up here, of course. I don't necessarily want to play with that. Sadly, while this tank does have good armor, as I said, it doesn't stand up in every single scenario super duper well. But there we go. Nice little overmatch right in that 57's frontal armor, and boom, finally getting a ricochet right on that frontal plate. So now we got the Type 61 running away. Let's see if we can get a nice tap into you, maybe an HE up the butt, and there you go. Not only killing him, but with an ammo rack as well. So you can see that the armor didn't really work too well this game. You can see right through that front, yeah, a lot of shells just penetrated right through, but the 57 did end up bouncing a premium shell right on the frontal armor. As I said, its front is very troll. Let's see if though we can get a nice little shot into that Jagdpanzer. Aim at the top and fire. There you go. Nice little roll for 527. I really do like the average damage on this tank. It's not a very small amount, but at the same time, it's enough to give it a decent reload. So let's see if we can get one more shot into the Jag. There we go, finishing him off. Again, you can see the accuracy on this tank is pretty dang fantastic, especially when you do think about it. So we got the 183 right off to the side. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I want to play with this 183. Let's see if he's going to back up. It doesn't look like he's going to, but I'm just going to kind of enjoy the view here. Let's see, Mr. 183. Are you going to pull out? Ooh, doesn't look like you're going to. Okay, so we're going to push aggressive. Sometimes not necessarily the smartest move, but I'm going to take my chances here. He's one of 2 tanks left, and yeah, he's going to die either way. So let's test our luck. There you go. Nice little shot right into the 183. And for the first game pulled out, you can see the tank did a pretty solid job. So it was about, what, 3,600 damage? Yeah, 3,500 damage for the first battle. And while we did get very easily penetrated right by that 57 Heavy, the tank still does a very good job of getting out damage, as you can see. What actually is the dispersion on this vehicle? Let's find out. Yeah, 0.326 is not bad, especially when, again, you have to think that this is a Tier 9 tank destroyer. Most Tier 10 TDs have about the same dispersion as that when you look at, like, the AMX 50 Foch or some of the other Tier 10 vehicles. They really don't have the best gun dispersion values. This tank's got a good gun arc. The only issue, again, I will say is that it's not necessarily the best on the superstructure. You know, like the Jagdpanzer, how it's got a really thick superstructure. It's able to bounce a lot of shells. Well, this tank, it's about 250 on the superstructure, which is good until you realize that most tier 9s easily going to penetrate through that with standard. Tier 10s all the day. And as well, tier 8s, if they load premium, can pen it. But in a tier 8 battle like this, oh boy, this vehicle is going to be extra, extra deadly. Again, with that 8 degrees of gun depression, it really does work quite well. So here we go. I'm going to be pushing. Let's see if we can get into position here. Now, on flat ground, you can see the mobility is decent. It's not the best, again. I really wish it was a little bit more mobile, but I'm going to be pushing this in a frontline position. It's got decent hit points to fight other tier 8s, I think. It's like I'm literally one of 2 tier 9s against on the enemy team, and yeah, double team of Type 61s, I am not too worried at all. So I'm literally going to be pushing directly in the front line of a heavy push here, seeing how it does work out for my vehicle. We got the T-32 right out in the front, and again, with that 8 degrees of gun depression, I can easily work the SOT. Yes, that was wonderful English, but I can easily work this line here. Let's see if we can get a nice overmatching shell into that T-32. Ooh, just a really unlucky ricochet there, I will say. But that's not the end of the planet. We're just going to keep an eye out actually for those Type 61s off to the side. So we've got the T-32 right in the front. Let's get a nice little overmatching shot into you. Again, the issue here is like that Type 60 on the side there. Thankfully, I've got my teammate, actually a Void member too. Thank you very much for helping me out there. But yeah, I definitely don't want to fall apart due to that. So let's see. We've got the T-32 right here, who actually did overmatch that little weak spot on my tank. But let's see if we can maybe get a nice little tap right into you. Oof, that shell really not wanting to penetrate there. So yeah, sometimes the gun doesn't necessarily do the best. And as you can see again, that superstructure on the tank isn't also the strongest. It can fall apart in certain given scenarios. I got to be very careful on when I'm pushing. You know, certain vehicles can do a great job of tearing into the frontal armor. But at the same time, this poor KV-4, he's probably going to be getting what he's asking for. The only issue is I've got to be a little bit careful from like that type. But here we go. We got the KV-4. Let's just get a nice tap right into the superstructure once again. Now we can back up. I doubt that this KV is even going to be able to penetrate me as it is. If he does, I'll be very, very surprised. But I'm just going to let him ram me. Here we go. And let's get another nice tap right into you. So yeah, this KV, not really sure what the guy's doing here, but well, yeah, this is tier 8 for everybody looking out there. He still hasn't even fired, but you know what? Yeah, that's the end of him, I guess. So what else do we have? Well, we got the T-32 right out in the front, who I'm not really too worried about. Let's just pull out, get a nice little overmatching shot right through the frontal armor. And all that's left, again, is the RHM and as well the Tiger II. And my gun is pretty much able to penetrate, I'm pretty sure, right through the solid frontal armor of you. Oof, just not able to get that shell out. Come on, RHM, do you want to play with me? Doesn't look like it, but overall, you can see that the tank did, once again, solid job right in the frontline position. Thankfully, I had my teammates to help me from the butt, and while we didn't do the most damage here, it still showed that this tank is a pretty dang solid one at that. It's got enough DPM to work the front line. I think it's about, what, 2,700 DPM? Yeah, 2,850 damage per minute. Definitely enough to work right in the front line. Not only that, but it does a good job at sitting at the back on certain battles, but you can see that game, I could have easily done a lot more damage, especially if we got an HE into the side of the RHM. I absolutely love the Wotb Type 2. It's a fantastic Tier 9 vehicle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But I actually think that if you haven't ground down this line, this is one of the best Tier 10 lines to currently go for. In fact, my Wotb Type, I think it's the Wotb Type 3 it's called, has the best statistics out of almost all my Tier 10s in the game, sitting at, it's about 3,600 DPM, almost 3,700 damage per minute. As you can see, quite impressive when you do think about it for a Tier 10 vehicle. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below if you agree with me or you disagree. But other than that, I hope you're all doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.